scriptures, because as I begin to build up, I will divert a little bit and give you light, on tight, coming from different, angle. All right, let's go to Genesis chapter 14, on verse 17 to 23. Genesis 14. All right. I will be using NIV. All right. And the king of Sodom went out, after Abraham returned from defeating Kedoloma, and the kings allied with him. The king of Sodom came out to meet him in the valley of Shaveh, that is the king's valley. Next verse. Then Melchizedek, whatever you want to call it, all right, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was a priest of God Most High. Next verse. And he blessed Abraham, saying, "Blessed be Abraham, by God Most High, creator of heavens and the earth." Right? And praise be to God. King James will say, "Bless God Most High." Now look at it. Who delivered your enemies into your hand? The victory, is on God. Then Abraham gave him a tenth of everything. All right. Now move back to New King James. This same. All right. But what's a tenth? All right. But so he gave him a tithe of all. Somebody say tithe of all. All right. Okay. Let's go. Next verse. All right. Now the king of Sodom said to Abraham, "Give me the persons and take the goods for yourself." Next verse. But Abraham said to the king of Sodom, "I raise my hand to the Lord, burn the corruption, God Most High, the possessor of heaven and earth." Next verse. "That I will take nothing, from a thread to a sandal strap, and that I will not take anything that is yours." All right. I'm going to be wealthy in the right way, so that you don't say that I have made Abraham rich. All right. Okay. So I'm going to pick up a discourse, to allow us into an understanding of the mind of God, when he was creating man. We have been dealing with a lot of God's intention, but I want to allow us into a man that is a picture, all right, or the type of the new covenant believer of who we are. So I want to talk of a mysterious character found in the Old Testament that reveal the original intent of God. When you don't understand the mind or the intentions of God, then Kachancha or Tinini Tanana will be your portion. And everybody is going to give you. Now the worst thing and the problem with the church people is that we are like the bird that open their mouth like they, and we are not actually operating as spiritual scientists that we are. A scientist asks question as to why this is. A spiritual scientist don't just take. No, why is this like that? When did it begin? Where is it coming from? Rather than somebody to just pick certain things out of their own ideology and then you begin to, I'm okay. All right. So I want to talk on this mysterious man and then take us through scripture and see where we fit into the things of God. When you read theological manuscripts, there are different iterations or suggestion as to who this man is. Some people believe that this man is Jesus operating in the patriarchal period, and he is the one that blessed Abraham. I might not be part of that, but okay. Other people also believe that this is a theophanic, appearance. Is a theophany. A theophany is the apparition of God, where God appears in the Old Testament. God appearing as man, but he's not a human being. However, the Jews don't believe in these two assertions. Because when the Bible says without father or mother, they believe that it's an idiomatic statement, all right, of people that came out of the ark, in which the ark started their new beginning. All right, so the Jewish scholars or theologians, the rabbis, believe that this man, Melchizedek, however, later I'm going to tell you that the word Melchizedek is a title, just like Lamido Adamawa. All right, it's not, all right, okay. So this man, Melchizedek, based on rabbis, believe that he is Shem, one of Noah's children, the son of Noah, who is the father of the Shemites or the Semitic people. All right, I will tend to go with this, all right, in which, but anyone that you pick, you are not wrong, but I will go with this. And so we see a story of Abraham going to war against an alliance of 4 nations. And all that Abraham had were slaves in his house. He took them through regimentation. That's why you cannot be successful in life if there is no regiment in your life. If there is no routine, protocol, and order. Because when life hit you, sometimes some of the things that will make you come out of it are regimentation, protocol, because how you do one thing is how you do other things. Success always leave a clue. All right, so Abraham picked up ragtag slaves. There's a time for them to wake up. There's a time for them to carry water. There is heavy regimentation, not knowing that there is going to be war. However, with 318 people, but you also have to understand that whenever you don't have a God factor in your life, some trust in chariots, others trust in horses, but we are going to trust in the name of our God. Because there is no way you can say that 318 people will conquer multitude, 4 nations of army. Something has to come and be an assist. And you have to be able to recognize this. Some of you, you're working as if it is your might, your ingenuity, and your intelligence that brings you into this place. Whenever you fail to recognize, all right, and that's why, so he came out of the battle. And when he was coming out of the battle, he came with great spoil. There's a statement, I used to say it in Life Spring, is that never go to war where there is no spoil. Whenever you're going to engage, whether the enemy or people, or you're going to go into business, you have to make sure that once you go in, there has to be something that you're coming out of it. Some of you have gone through rough times. All right, you have to also be able to tell the devil that I can't go through this thing just like that. I have to come out. So when they're coming out from this war, he came out with the spoils of victory. What that means that you need to come out of your battles loaded. Anytime you go through something, you must be wiser. Am I talking here? Sometimes what you're coming out of, it might not be tangible, but you have grown better. Come on, put your hands together. You have grown wiser. You now know where to go, know where not to go. That's why in life we don't have failures. We only have lessons. Because anytime I go through something, I learn, I pick a stone. And when you see a stumbling block, it's not necessarily a stumbling block. It's nothing but a stepping stone. Because I'm going higher based on the things that I have gone through. And I want to tell somebody that your mess is actually turning to be a message that is going to help you and protect you in the future. Your pain is going to be your power, and the scars are going to be the stars that are going to attract, because the force is going to be somebody began come on kutapa and shout in this place. Push your neighbor, say, neighbor, make sure you come out loaded, make sure you come out with the wisdom, make sure you come out with everything that you demanded, make sure you come out with anamagana and kirkikua. I can't go through this and be the same. There has to be a payment on the things that anamagana. I pay school fees. There must be a laurel that I'm coming out of it. I cried, but I'm not going to cry for too long. That's why when you're going through stress, don't you lose your mind, because you will need your mind for the next thing that is ahead of you. When your house get burned, get ready. God is about to give you a new house, but you got to have your mind together to decorate the new house that is about to come forth. Because the devil is a liar. He doesn't deserve you. You're too higher, and God is protecting you from a mess, and somebody better is about to show forth. So you stop crying. Pick up the lesson so that you don't just trust anybody anyhow. If he's not in the garden, you can now again in Kirkikua. Come and put your hands together and understand what I'm talking about. When we go through life, we are not crushed or perplexed. We are more than conquerors in all of these things. Come on, Kungani Meneke Fadakua. You betrayed me. You think I'm going to go down, but I cannot go down. They that trust in the Lord shall be like Mount Zion. Come on, put those hands together if you understand. You connive and send me out of that job, but you don't know that rejection is actually direction, and God is about to things around. Put those hands together. In a Jumani Abunatura ni Ikea. In a Jin Iko Ubengiji. In a Jin Bulu. In a Jin water. Come on, put those hands together and say, yeah. So by the time he was coming out, in a Jumani Abunatura ni Ikea. Somebody say, Pastor, relax. Ya jilti Nike kijeki siya sabon zani aje kijegu matan dikin Roche Elder Roche they make you wani wicked scared at dan saga haka da dan gaga something da baza bayar ba the devil is a liar. Get some nice shoe, learn how to walk da kina tafiya kaman kaka gyara jikin kiya ki ina maganan kirki kuwa works with some psychedelic power. You want to create a business, go into business. Ki siya sabon moton ki instead of kina kuka mutumin ya bari kiya. The next time you see him kidan dan na ya choo say ya yalla man and then choo and then drive out. Why? Because thank God you reject me. There are some of you that have been messed up by men. You better tell them get in a hurry and reject me, because there is something better around in the corner. Now some people are toxic. So when you go to battle, don't ever come out alone. Come out with a spoil. Come on, put those hands. I was talking with my wife. I was like, you know, why is that? The greatest asset that you have is yourself. Am I talking here? And then King Kama Kanki hypertension, King Kama, you know, the devil is a liar. There's nothing you can do to change Iskane, but you got the gift of yourself. You better get yourself together. There's a future. Come on, boy. Come on, put your hands together. I said, come on, put your hands together. And same thing, we interpolate in Naji. So you need to come out of your battle loaded. I didn't intend that I would preach this hard. I want to teach. Some will say, Pastor, relax. So when he was coming out, he met two kings. And these are the two tests that you always, if you're going to be victorious in wealth and prosper, you have to pass these two tests. When you don't pass these two tests, then you're going to, all right, king of Sodom and king of Salem. King of Salem is Melchizedek, of course, where we read. If you're going to prosper in this life, there is two tests that every believer, they will experience victory, particularly financial victory or prosperity victory must go through. You cannot circumvent it. You're going to meet the king of Salem, and then you're going to meet the king of Sodom. The king of Sodom, of course, are going to give you easy way. All right, okay. Either through corruption or anything. But Abraham said, well, I worship God. All right, and what I'm going to get legally. So, but I'm going to submit to a God. All right, okay. Not everything that glitters is gold. You cannot begin to move in wealth and prosperity and then you cut off God in your life. So you're going to meet the king of Salem is a priest of God. I'm not going to dwell on that, on Sodom. And Abraham clearly knew him. All right. The Bible didn't allow us to see as if it was a strange appearance and no. Abraham clearly respected him. Abraham clearly honored him. And also, you have to know that if Abraham gave the tithe, it means that's not his first tithe. It has been a practice. Later I'm going to help you. So this man gave Abraham bread and wine, which was a foreshadowing or prefiguring of the blood and the body of Jesus. Remember, types, foreshadows, prefigures. And so in Old Testament we see, remember when a shadow shows forth, it's so that when the substance appears, you will recognize it. All right. They are all prefigures of Christ in the Old Testament so that when the figure shows forth, you will know it. So he served him communion and then he blessed Abraham. But he also made Abraham to know that this victory that you just encountered, this spoil, this ladder that you're climbing, is actually orchestrated by the help of God. All right, and your ability to recognize that it's not your connection, it's not your power. 318 can't defeat four kings. And he reiterated to Abraham that it is the Most High God that delivered your enemies into your hand. And you have to be able to understand how you bring God into as you begin to move in this life. What that is actually saying is that this victory that you won, you have won it by the hand and the grace and the help of God. How many people do I have here that are being helped by God? The promotion is just the hand of God. This new office is nothing but the hand of God. Some of you, the wife that God gave you is the help of God. The husband that you just received is the ingenuity, the ideas, the power is nothing but. Come on, put your hands together. Don't you ever lift up your head in pride thinking, and you have to be able to know how to get back to God and then make sure that that which he is doing in your life is sustained by something that you continue to do. It's just a show of time. So he blessed Abraham and then he blessed God. Don't forget, Abraham clearly knew this person. What that means that this person, but we have to the Gajimari even he know, was clearly, listen to me, living among people before Abraham met him. That is why I told you that I can go with the shame, principle in the rabbinical understanding of Melchizedek as Shem. But there's something about Melchizedek. And then later I'm going to help you a little with the tie. Melchizedek was a king of a whole community, a city. And the name of the city is called Salem. All right, it's not a name, a city that is known, it is existing. Which means at that time there is an entire community of people who are aware of the God of creation. Push your neighbor and say neighbor. Say neighbor, neighbor, neighbor. Come on, push him, say neighbor. Say neighbor, neighbor, neighbor. God did it in my life. This community of people are aware of the Most High God and they worship the Most High God. But another strange thing shot forth in this man. Their king is a priest to this God. So we have a man that is a king, but is also a priest, which is the picture of the New Testament church, which later I'm going to show you. And when you rise up with that, understand. So Melchizedek was a king of Salem and then a priest of God. This man Melchizedek was known and respected by Abraham. It's a community of believers. All right. And they know that whatever they have is sustained by God, and there is a link that they sustain as they begin to move, whether in business, in conquering, in war, and in fight. Now, you have to be careful when you're reading Genesis. So, in some way, we see that there is a recognize, there is a, Abraham recognized that without the priest of God, or this priest of God, or this community that they are together, in which they're entreating God, and without this community of people who know and worship the Most High God, without them, he will not have gotten the victory. There is something about them praying, worshiping God together that allow him have the victory over these four armies, four kings. Now, so it is important to know that, it's just argumentative. That when Noah came out of the ark, Noah and his wife, Shem, Japheth, and Ham. So there is literally a people that began to populate the earth. But these people also know Yahweh, because he preserved them in the ark. Inasmuch as there might be few among them that became renegade. Now some scholars also say that when the Tower of Babel was coming down, Abraham was small and was watching that rebellion. And it was later that God was saying that come out. All right, so there is a group of people, okay, that have the knowledge of the true God on earth at the time of Abraham. And they move in a community, unfortunately, the city is called Salem. And their king is a priest of the Most High God. Not of Baal or idols, Most High God. So he is a king priest. Don't forget, this is before the law. All right. And this is the first appearance of a king priest after the fall, that is giving us a picture of who Adam was before the fall, as the king of the earth and the priest of God, where he could have communion with God. So I'm going to digress a little bit and talk about something that you become very uncomfortable when, all right. Tithing is a law of the kingdom that applies to every area of your life. Now, The tithe is a specific law, and I'm going to help you, that was written in the Old Testament. If you're going to understand, make sure you understand everything I'm saying today. And the tithe happened way back in Genesis with Adam and Eve. I'm going to help you. We're going to do some little, all right. I want you to know something when God created Adam. Give me Hebrew chapter 2, verse 7 and 8. There's a statement of God about this man. You made him a little lower than the angels. You crowned him with glory and honor. Glory there is actually not, yes, there's presence, but also is wealth. Next verse. Now watch. Look at what God is saying about the man. You put everything. Somebody say everything. In other words, Adam was in charge. He was the king of the earth. In putting everything under him, God left nothing that is not subject to them. But look at it. But yet at present, we don't see everything subject to them. Now, it's actually talking about something, that happened now. Somebody say everything. When God was getting ready to create Adam and Eve, Satan was already on the earth. All right. That's why when God is saying that, have dominion, there is a force. However, the earth was under the jurisdiction of Adam. And there is nothing that was not under him. Look at everything. Even the devil was under him. And no spirit could enter the earth without his instigation or permission. Not even God. Why? Because Genesis 1:26, let us make man, let them have dominion. Immediately God said, let them have dominion. Even God can enter the earth except man invite him. If I get into your house, it's either I stole your key, all right, for me to penetrate into your house. All right, so for Satan to enter into the earth and begin to take control, he has to steal the key. Because the key of the earth, everything was under a man called Adam. The Bible said that he deceived them and then he collected the key. And that which was under the control, all under Adam now became all control under a renegade spirit called Satan. Follow me well. I'm going to take you. So man lost this. That's why we said that, okay, you're moving. Now we don't see all things. Okay, he lost it. He lost his crown. He lost his position. That's what Jesus Christ came to restore. Not to take man to heaven. I've flogged it. So when that happened, instead of the earth and the devil becoming subject to Adam, now humanity became subject to Satan because somebody now has the jurisdiction or the control of the earth. I'm going to help you. When that happened, based on the nature of Satan, the law of sin and death was activated and was let loose on the earth. And Satan hates humanity. And left to the devil, he will wipe out, kill, destroy. So Adam became a survivalist. Watch, he lost his garden. What that means is that he also lost his provision. Now, but when he lost the key, there was a move that God made so that this renegade will not kill, and because he has hate. But when the fall happened, look at what Jesus Christ said in New Testament. that unbelievers run after things of life. Because now to survive, you have to stress and go after things. Because that's the way we learn to do things on earth. Look at what God told Adam. By your toil and sweat, that's how you're going to make it in this life. Why? The jurisdiction, the control. Okay. What is subject to you now is no more. The provision is taken. He lost his garden. What that happened is that Adam gave the devil entry into the earth by giving him the key. Now, who is this devil? Let me show you something so that you understand. There are some of you, you're just casual, walking anyhow in life. 1 Peter 5:8. He said that you have an adversary. If you have an adversary, you have to be alert and you have to be sober. You have to be tight and together. Whenever you are casual, you will end up becoming a casualty. Because the enemy proud and he is looking to devour you, destroy you. He has a hatred towards man or mankind. And it's not in New Testament, it's from the beginning. Because he wanted the earth, God created man and made him subject to man. Look at it. Everything was under, even the devil. That's why in New Testament, when Jesus said that now I'm giving you authority, you trample. Why? Now you are restored and everything is under you. And you can bind. Whenever you see the devil, you have the power to bind him. Am I talking here? That was what Adam had. He had the key, but now he lost it. So Satan hates man. He despised Adam. And Satan will love to take Adam out of the picture completely. So when Adam sinned, for this wicked not to immediately, God immediately covered them with blood. That's why you see when they're in Egypt, they say that when the enemy sees the blood, he's going to pass over. All right. So when he cut and covered them with blood, as in their life, not that, so that they can live the life that is given to them. All right. Though in sin, but the devil can't take them out because he's an enemy. Are you hearing what I'm talking about? However, they lost provision, prosperity. All right, so what the devil now, if he can kill them outrightly, then he's going to hold provision so that they can die by starvation. And when they plan and they do anything, he can create uproar so that nothing comes out. All right, so, but God not only killed an animal and covered them with blood, God did another thing. And I'm going to help you. You have to put your thinking cap. Now watch. Give me Luke 4:5. Luke 4:5. I want to help somebody here. You're going to grow. The devil led him to a high mountain, show him the inside of the kingdoms of the world. The earth, the kingdoms of the world now is in his hand. The government. You see, the devil, at church, we are the dumbest people. We don't know government. Devil goes for government because government are the thing that makes things. They set laws. If you're not in government, if you're not the government, you're going to be in serious trouble. Okay, now watch. Let's go. Now look at. Let's go. And he said to him, I will give you the authority and splendor. Underline the word splendor. The word splendor actually is dealing with wealth. But he also has authority. It was with Adam, but it is given to me, and I can give it to anyone. And Jesus didn't challenge it. So if splendor is wealth and provision, if the devil hates you, he can withhold the wealth and the splendor, okay, if it is through agri or through, so that you can become wretched, am I talking here, and starve, because now it is his hands. And if you want me to give it to you, you have to bow down and serve me. Though already the earth, the jurisdiction is in Satan. So Satan loves government. Look at it, authority. Because government is how everything works. It is in government that you have legalities. A government that set laws. So you sit down here, you're clapping, you're not taking government. Other people will set laws. Look at what these people are doing. And you are subject to it. Why? Because government is powerful. Mulki is powerful. However, because Satan has legalities in the kingdom of men. Look at it. The kingdoms of men. So the kingdoms of men and the kingdom of men are the ones that produce money. There's no money coming from heaven. If you have money, remove your money. Look at it. You see Central Bank of Nigeria. You're going to see the signature of the governor. It's not. That's why you are confused if you raise and then there's an anointing where you are receiving extra money coming from where? And so money is in government. It's the government. So since Satan has operating legalities, money is produced by earthly government. So when the Bible talks about the splendor of the kingdom, here we see that Satan claims that it belongs to him. How? Now the jurisdiction of earth is in his hand. And even God, though man is there, man instigated the devil into it. So even God to come and assist and help man, man has to instigate him. So that God can come in legally, inasmuch as the devil can starve him with provision, but God now can protect him, whether he farm a crop and then allow his blessings so that he can survive provisionally wise. And for that to happen, God had to institute something that can legally allow God into the earth or into his. All right, okay. So the first thing God had to teach Adam in the area of finances and provision is the tithe. You see, there's somebody that is talking about, okay, I'm going to help you. There is a law of tithe. There is a law to tithe. The law to tithe is the one that was abrogated and fulfilled in Christ. But there is a law of, and I'm going to help you. Because when God now instituted that thing so that he can legally come, and for Abraham, later we're going to see, because now it is in Genesis 14 that we knew the name. All right. A law, whenever God speaks or starts something, a law picks up. When they came out of the ark, when he smelled, he said that as long as the earth remained, seed time, harvest, a law. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Okay, so when God instituted that thing, and everybody now becomes very uncomfortable whenever you hear the word tithe. Because we are taught, and it sounds like bondage, and speaks of law. Right. Somebody said that tithe is a scam. Okay. The law to tithe might be, I don't believe that if you don't tithe, you will not go to heaven. I don't believe that. That's where the law, so you don't put fear. I don't believe, because it is, okay, let me take you there. So you have to understand what tithe is. It's vital. Now, what you don't know, listen to me, is life and death. And anybody can teach you and say anything. And for your information, I'm dealing with Genesis. Mosaic law came in later. So while God had to cover him with blood, he also has to do something. If not, Satan is going to rob him out of provision, and he will die of starvation and lack. Because the devil is controlling everything. Look at what he said. That if you don't bow, it's in me. It's controlling everything. So he's going to mess up this man. So there has to be, listen to me, a legal deterrent that set Adam and Eve apart from Satan's jurisdiction. But it has to be by a consent that the man allow. As far as prosperity is concerned, and as far as provision is concerned. I'm dealing with provision because he has to survive. And then as he begins to move, enemies will take him. Look at Abraham. Now watch. As long as they will tithe, then God can become able now to, listen to my words, legally enter the earth. Because God had to receive permission to come in. And God had to now create something that the man will give legal permission for God to come into the earth realm, and then begins to protect their crop, their harvest, where their provision is concerned. So that storm cannot destroy, what they do will prosper. You understand? Because the earth is under a renegade. So this is what happened. I'm going to help you. They put the tithe towards God as an offering, thanking him. And when they do that, it gave God the legal right to protect their crop and to help them prosper in life. Though they are in a world that the enemy has already taken. Okay, if they don't allow or call God in, then they are going to walk over by this enemy and give the enemy permission to deprive them. That's why when you become born again, the Bible said that don't give the devil any space. Because you are now in charge. If you give him, all right. He said resist the devil. Now, when God did that, immediately he did that. The law, I'm going to help you. There's the law of tithe. There's the law to tithe. They're not the same. The law of tithe was activated in the earth. Now let me help you again as I position your mind. Let me walk. Genesis chapter 4 and verse 2. Some of you don't like teaching. You need to grow. Later God gave birth. Genesis chapter 4 verse 2. Look at it. Abel. Now Abel kept flocks and Cain walked the soil. Now let's go next verse. In the course of time, Cain brought, now underline, some of the fruit of the soil. Some of. Because it's not illegal, it's a law. You can decide not to. But when you decide not to, then you can take the consequences there because you're allowing, you understand. So look at some of. Okay. As offering. It is later in Genesis that we know that the offering, there's offering which is also, we can as well call it that. Now look at next verse. But an Abel, in New King James said, but. Now look at it. Brought an offering. Now look at the qualification. Fat portion. Firstborn of his flock. He activated the law. Someone decided, I will just do whatever I want to do. Just like, okay. And then the Lord looked with favor. Okay, now watch. God is comparing two things. For Abel, fat portion, best portion, firstborn. For Cain, some. So if you see anything in the Bible, there has to be a reason why it's done. They can't conjure offering or tithe. They cannot. They don't have the ability to do that. They can't create it. So a being has to be responsible. Now, every believer is a spiritual scientist. As a scientist, you ask. So I want to know why Adam and Eve kids give an offering at all. Why? Why did they do why? Next, I want to know who told them how to do that. Whoa. But no, who told them? The person that told them, who taught them. So the answer to who told them is that, you see, on Wednesday I said that everybody belongs to a household. The household is where you learn values, culture. You understand? Okay. So when they are in the household of Adam and Eve taught them something that God taught them. Come on, put your hands together. I said, come on, put your hands together. Now, question, why did they teach them? So you have to know, God taught them to do that. They did not just wake up. But to the capacity. And there are some things that you don't know. So when God is moving, God knew some things legally. And when so the next question is this. Why did God taught them to do that? You have to be a spiritual scientist and ask questions are the answers. If not, somebody will come and tell you that tithe is a scam. And talakawa soon as murna balamu bayarba. Talakawa. So why do they do that? That's why I said that if you don't have the concept of the kingdom, you will never understand the Bible. Now, listen to me. Genesis 14. No, we've already read it. And that's where this thing that they're doing as offering, now we saw for the first time the word tithe was mentioned, and the victory was associated to a protection from God, and based on that protection, the tenth of the provision is given back. So we can deduce by going back, because how did Abraham also know? We find the word tithe mentioned. The church didn't make the word. No church on earth created that word. You don't have that capacity to do that. Why did Abraham do that? Who taught Abraham? He just wake up. Because at that time the law was not in place. There was no legalities that say you have to tithe. No. If you don't tithe, you will die. No. Abraham chose to do that willingly. But who told him? How did he know? Why did he do that? Who told him to do that? So obviously, you see, I'm a teacher, so I'm arguing with your mind. We can conclude that for Abraham to come and do this, it means something must have been passing down. This is passed down. So it was passed down. You have to go back and you will find out that it started with Adam and Eve. That's why he came coming down. He can't wake up to do it. It's passed down, what? As the law of the tithe. And it became a law in the earth realm. Just like the law of gravity. You don't have to obey it. It's not by force that you obey it. But you're going to watch, but you know, if you obey it, then you're going to profit with it. But you don't have to. So the reason why it was mentioned in Mosaic law is because God made sure they did it. Now, in Mosaic law, that's when it became a law to tithe. Not a law of tithe. No, a law to tithe. But when God instituted it, it became a law of tithe. Why did God make it a law? Because he's now setting a nation. He wants to create a culture. Listen to me. You're from your tribes. Culture are forced on you. There are some of you, because of a culture, right? Yeah. It became a law. I'm not talking here. Now, God wants to raise a nation of people, but he wants some certain norms in his kingdom to be a culture. These people are not the telling kind. So we have to take and create laws so that we can force them to do it. So that it can activate their conscience that if they don't do it, they're sinning. Now, let me help you. If you're understanding, wave your hand. I will sit down. No, but why was God concerned about it? Now let me help you again. Genesis chapter 2. There are some of you, you don't even tithe. It's not a problem. If you don't want to tithe, fine. Verse 8. Now the Lord God has planted a garden in the east, in the Eden, and there he put the man. He planted the garden he had formed. Now, next verse. The Lord God made all kinds of trees to grow, provisions. That's trees planted. Now look at it. In the middle of the garden were the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Why should God, in the middle of your room, got provisions, everything say, Saka, when you eat a cyanide, when you eat a kuma life? Why? In Kachuan and boom, like a mutu. Why? Now, when God made Adam, Satan was on earth. Kingdom operate with legalities. If Adam begins to rule the devil and the earth without passing a test, the devil will call it a foul. If Adam passed the test, then he has the right to keep the devil under his feet. Because passing the test means the heart of Adam is in the hand of God and the earth will respond to Adam. Some of you could get that. How do I know? I know it because of the second Adam. The second Adam also had a taste of the tree. For the devil to be subjected to Jesus, he had to pass. Look at it. It was when he passed, then he came in the power of the Holy Ghost. And now he could subject the devil. Why? There was the same test that Adam failed, but the second Adam passed. And now he could now carry the earth and the devil and put it under his feet. Do you understand? Yeah. So when Adam fell, oh God, so when Jesus had to, it is also the choice that gives God legality to step in. So it is based on that now. Adam also could now choose to accept something and now allow God legally to step in and protect Adam's crop and the things in the area of provision. Now, the challenge you have is that most Christians tithe legally. But you don't have to. You don't have to tithe. And so churches now put fear in you that if you don't tithe, you will not go to heaven. No. But I also believe when he said that if you don't tithe, things will be tight. But I don't believe that because now it's not legal. Later I'm going to say based on righteousness is fulfilling God. But anytime, listen to me, God asks you to do something, it is always to your best interest. He always wants to get something to you. And he always wants to protect you from something. And God doesn't owe you any explanation. You have to be a scientist and probe and understand. Push your neighbor and say, neighbor. And say, neighbor, neighbor, neighbor. You have to understand something. So now, it is in Malachi that now we started seeing what Adam Abraham was being protected from as a result of that obedience. And it is in Malachi that I had a clue that it is a law. So in Malachi 3, when you start reading from 8, God was saying that you are giving the devil access to your finances, to your crops, but it doesn't have to be. But you are giving him access. And then you tie my hand, rob me from protecting you. But no, you rob me. So when the Bible says, test me and see, it means that it's a law. And the law is a law. It means that it works everywhere, every time. If not, he wouldn't. Just like gravity, try it now. Yes. So when God said, test me and see, he's trying to tell you that this tithe is a law of, not a law to. You can decide not to. And then you allow access. And the term throw open the windows of heaven is a legal term. It means now you are going to access heaven, or heaven will have access in this area of provision. And also, look at what Abraham, it was God that gave you ability and protection to win that war. You can with 318. Do you understand what I'm talking about? So the tithe allows God to stand in one area, which is the area of provision. If not, the devil could have wiped out Adam long since. And that's where some of you are missing. Now look at it. There are laws in this realm in regards to provision. Let me help you. Jesus Christ came. He's God, he's man. Why didn't Jesus Christ feed the 5,000? Because there's laws in place. So he now said, what do you have? And it is what you have that can allow heaven to access it. So that the limitation can be broken and then now it can begin to go. Why didn't he hit the rock? Because of legalities. And man has to, do you understand what I'm talking about? Until Jesus, as long as you're here, until Jesus brings back his government, where Satan is cast in the earth realm, you will always, in this situation regarding to tithe, in the area of operation, provision, operate it. Because presently, the totality of Jesus' government is not on earth. Because the devil is not tied and cast out. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Okay, now watch. So when you come to the New Testament, the tithe moved. But listen, the law of the tithe is still in place. Watch my word. The law of the tithe, not the law to tithe. The law of the tithe is like the law of gravity. As long as the earth is here, Satan is still loose on earth. And you have to, when it comes to provision. So the law of the tithe, or we can say that the effect of the tithe is still in place, but not the law requiring you to tithe as far as your righteousness is concerned. That's what was met in Jesus. But the law is in place. It's no different than the law of faith. The law of faith, just like the law of gravity, the law of faith, unless you speak, you're not going to lose heaven. Look at what he said there. Whatever you lose on earth, if you don't speak, the law is there, but you can choose not to activate it. You believe in your heart, that's a law of faith, but you speak. Now, you can say that, why do I have to speak? The reason why you have to speak is that when you are born again, now you have the jurisdiction in the earth realm. And if you don't permit heaven, heaven will not flow. And that's where the law is. So, the same type of thinking is applied to the law of tithe. Abraham, from Adam, then Mosaic law did not come in. There's about 613 laws. Later I'm going to show you as you build this thing. Has not come in. But tithe is just like gravity. It's a law of the kingdom. Just like the law of faith. Just like the law of jurisdiction. Just like the law of giving and receiving. These are laws. If you don't do it, you're not sinning. But if you don't do it, you're allowing access to a renegade to hold some certain things. But it's a law that you profit with. And we here in church, you can't be a worker here and you can't be around me there. You don't tithe. You just stay, do what you want to do. But you cannot. These laws are in existence in the earth realm. You want God, you're born again, yeah. But you see, the jurisdiction of that, you want heaven to be loose. Then the law of faith have to, in area of finance, provision, you want the help of God, then use the law. Not the law of, the law, not the law to, the law of. No wonder some of you kuna farmer because you don't have the God factor. And I'm not the kind of person that will not put fear. There are people that made a lot of wrong teachings about tithe. Tithe was activated as a law with Adam. And you can't do anything about it. You can't change it. So we see this man. My time is up. Because now, everything the night is a bonus. It's a digression. I said, come on, clap. Why? Bible assistance na ubangiji. Why? You didn't allow him in. But you didn't allow him in. Pocket rami yana shiga yana fita. You didn't allow him in. You didn't allow him so that now he can, when the devil is coming like a flood, he can raise the standard. So that he can rebuke them. Come on, put your hands together. You didn't allow him so that he can rebuke, raise the standard, protect your crop, stop, so that now heaven will open, rain will fall, whether your business, your endeavor, and then it prosper. You allowed the enemy access, and God is tight. So you're robbing him of helping you. But the only way is that you have to now use what he said, the law of tithe. How better have you become? The law of sowing and giving. Even don't go to buy a tithe, but go and find out. It's a law on earth. You will be shocked. I can't show you a zakah. Kana the real thing. Say kai tauri kaman kwakwa. And poor people, very poor people. And how much have you progressed? Is the law. I don't believe in gravity. Don't jump, oh. Just don't jump. As long as you jump, whether you believe it or you don't believe it, it's going to hit you. I don't believe in tithing. Just don't do business. Don't lay your hands to do. Just don't move in provisions. So. There is a